at long last, I figured I'd finally go over the Dakota, and because there's been so many people that are new to the channel, I figured I'd take it from the very top and explain the whole long saga. This is going to be probably about a 15-minute video. Get comfortable, and hopefully I don't put you to sleep by the end of this thing. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Ryan. I'm the owner of FRP. We do late model Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge performance and parts. This is my personal 2000 Dakota RT, regular cab, intense blue, one of 124 made that year. Anyhow, I bought this several years ago. It was a stock Survivor truck out of New Orleans. I ended up doing bolt-on modifications. Bolt-ons led to a built trans with a converter. That led to a Pro Charger. Pro Charger ended up getting pulled off the truck because of issues with belt slip. We ended up going single turbo. We did an S475 T6 cast wheel. Hindsight being 2020, it is a real chore to put a T6 frame turbo into a Dakota if you're keeping the Magnum and the factory harness and AC and power steering and all the other creature comforts. Knowing what I know now, I probably should have done something smaller. I would have saved a lot of money. It would have been a lot less effort to turbo the truck in the first place, and maybe I wouldn't have gone down the rabbit hole that I ended up going down. But through that, I've learned a lot, and I'm hoping that through videos like this one, I can provide some of that learning experience to you guys as well. So anyhow, the S475 turbo setup worked extremely well on this bolt-on 360 that I had in this thing. Naturally aspirated with an intake manifold and full exhaust, and removed the clutch fan, and had an FRP M1 flash. It made 252 wheel on my dyno, naturally aspirated, and then on 11 pounds it made 462 wheel and 497 foot-pounds of torque. So all things considered, very, very good power for just bolt-ons and boost on pumped gas. Not long after that, I ended up popping the 360. I had made the tune-up a little too aggressive. No excuses. I did it all to myself, and I hurt the motor in the process. So I ended up putting together a 387 stroker with what I thought were the best parts that money could buy within reason. And long story short, I had some help. RS Street Rods in Tomball, Texas did a lot of the work on my behalf. Shout out to the guys at RSR. And anyhow, they just for clarity, they did not build the engine. We had a third-party engine builder put this 387 together. And long story short, I provided a lot of parts, but not everything. And some of the parts that the engine builder provided on his own behalf were just not up to par. So we ended up troubleshooting a series of issues with both the engine and the truck itself. We had a intermittent misfire that we ended up tracing back to the harness. So that led to the entire truck being rewired. We did a full rewire on this. We implemented Holley Terminator X Max. Originally that was going to be with the 46RE that I had in it. I ended up selling the 46RE, and we did an 8HP70 conversion. I'll show a little bit of the interior at this point in time. So this is to give some context as to when this all went down. Pardon the mess in the background, guys. So this was 2023, and we elected to take care of a lot of the little things that didn't necessarily need to be done, but they were just details that were not yet finished. So we did new carpet. We did Gen 4 Viper seats that I've had for a while in storage. Did a Challenger console, like I mentioned, the 8HP70 conversion. Shout out to Sound German Automotive for assistance with that. We did the Holley Pro Dash. Let me see if I can show that here real quick. Whoops. Jeez. Just a lot of small details just to make the truck stand out and really make it modernized without feeling like the truck got totally hacked up in the process of doing so. Anyhow, did all that. Just a lot of little details to get the truck to a point of being finished. My life has changed a lot in the last couple of years. I'm married now. I have kids, and I just don't have a whole lot of time to be constantly wrenching on my stuff. There was definitely a desire to get this thing to the point of being finished so that I could actually enjoy the fruits of my labor and all the hard work that's gone into either working on this stuff or paying for someone else to work on it. And no fault of the guys at RSR at all. This was not, they did a phenomenal job of getting this to the point of not only being finished, but also looking like it's finished, knowing that they were not starting with a clean slate to begin with. Let's see here. We ran into a series of issues with the engine itself. We ran into first a oil consumption problem, and then later the last straw was we ran into where several lifters had collapsed. And mind you, this is an engine that has only 300, 400 miles on it. Because this engine was studded, and because to go to an aftermarket lifter like a link bar or a tie bar style hydraulic lifter on a Magnum, you have to pull the heads. Well, if you have studs, at least in a Dakota, if you need to pull the heads, you have to pull the engine. And as much trouble as I've had with this setup since the start, I elected to pull the engine out and basically go back to the drawing board. Like I was saying, in the interest of trying to get this to the point where it's not only done, but drivable, and it's not constantly down in one form or another, I've decided that I was going to make the switch to a Gen 3 Hemi. Right now, I have a 6.4 base engine that is almost assembled. The details are basically we're using our 6.4 base drop-ins. The block that I'm using needed a pretty healthy overbore. I am doing this on something resembling a budget. We're using our 35 over drop-ins. Henrik over at Ultimate Engine Solutions is assembling the short block for me, and then from there, once I have it as a short block, and we're going to use a set of our 5.7 CNC'd ported heads, and this will exist as a naturally aspirated 6.4 base engine. I think it works out to be either 398 or 400 cubes. I haven't done the exact math, but either way, it's going to be a 6.4 base engine. It is going to be naturally aspirated, and some are probably wondering, well, if you had a boosted Magnum, why are you going backwards in power? And there's a few reasons for that. One is because I can weld. I have some very basic fabrication skill, but I am not a fabricator, not by a long shot. And the reality is this truck's been apart in one form or another with very little drive time for the last 5 years, and I'm over it. I just want to drive it, and I'm at the point now where either if I don't start using this on a routine basis, I may as well just part it out and sell it. I don't really want to do that. I've got a lot of sweat equity into this. I've got a lot of money into it, and I just want to see the whole thing through. And given the amount of Hemi parts I have laying around, it was far, far easier and honestly cheaper to just use existing parts I have off the shelf or in storage and throw together a Gen 3 Hemi base setup. And yeah, I'll be down a little bit on power, but you know what? The setup that I'm putting together should make an honest 550 wheel, roughly 625, 650 flywheel with a 28-inch tire and a 3600 converter and a 392 rear gear with the 8-speed. That's plenty for how I use this thing. I'll probably end up tracking it here and there just to see what it runs, and maybe we'll do some index racing with it. But for now, my main goal is just to get it to the point where I can hop in it with the wife and go to Whataburger. Anyhow, the short block is almost done in assembly. I need to throw in the mock-up block. I have a Summit Racing mock-up block. The one issue that I'm currently trying to navigate through is header/exhaust swap header specific to the Gen 3 Hemi. Those have been discontinued. They are practically impossible to find. What I'm going to end up doing more than likely is putting in this mock-up block, and then from there, either using a set of like Jeep 6.4 long tubes, or just mocking up a set of long tubes to have someone jig them up and make them into a tangible product. Not necessarily for resale, but at least so I can get this done. The setup that I'm putting together, it really needs a proper header, and putting a set of, say, 6.4 manifolds on it is not really going to cut it. The rest of the exhaust is easy enough. We'll do 3-inch exhaust with, you know, Borlex R1s or what have you. That's easy. But I have to figure out the whole header situation. It's not in the truck, but I have basically everything else. Shout out to Ryan Davis from Auto Science for hooking me up with a oil pan and dipstick and all of the other typical swap parts that are used on this thing. I am hoping that I'll have most everything put together by the end of this summer. I hope this video was of interest to you. I've learned a lot on this whole journey. If there's anything that I could share with the audience here, I made several mistakes along the way, but I got really overzealous in terms of I wanted to make all of the power, and I ended up with this setup that was so difficult to finish in terms of the parts availability and other issues that it ended up not really being worth it. I would have been money and time ahead, not necessarily made as much power, but if I could have done a much milder 30 over 360 with a forged crank, and I could have been enjoying this truck probably for years. And I'm sure this 3A7 will probably go through it and get it cleaned up and have it put together correctly, fix the issues, and I'm sure it'll run great. But for now, the goal is just to get a running engine in this truck, even in naturally aspirated form, so I can actually drive the thing. We'll hopefully make another video here at the end of summer showcasing this thing in finished form. Till then, I'm out.